Happy Money Making Monday. My name's CJ Curry, and in today's video, we're going to look at one of the more underserved player prop markets over on PrizePicks. I'm talking about first half only props. With so many blowouts in the NBA, this is a category that you might want to start playing a little bit more of, because if you get those first half picks in, you can avoid stuff like injury risk, blowout risk, and so on and so forth. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button now. It's free for you to do that. We're on our way to 28,000 subs. I appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel to this point. And let's set today's like goal of 199.5. But in today's video, I'm not taking the over, I'm taking the under. You guys have consistently went under 200 likes, and I don't have any faith in you to get us over 200 likes yet again. So I'm going to keep riding this streak of under 200 likes. If you guys end up hitting that like button more than 200 times, well, then I guess you have chalked my bet. Let's move into today's video. We're looking at PrizePicks. PrizePicks, one of the few sites out there that actually allows you to play first half only NBA player props. I think Underdog's another one. If you're not familiar with Underdog, really similar to PrizePicks, you can go down to the link in the description of today's video. I've got links for PrizePicks and Underdog. You could take any of these props on any of those sites and use promo code CJ Curry to get yourself a nice little deposit promo, okay? PrizePicks is doing 50 bucks, giving you $50 anytime you play 5 bucks. Whether you win or lose, you basically 10 times your money. So, like I said, links for all that stuff down in the description below. So I was poking around this morning on Outlier.bet, and Outlier had a lot of really good trends. Let me go to their player prop kind of trends page here. Here's how I found these. If you're not using Outlier.bet, it's a great tool. I go over to the propositions category, and then I look for first half only on the points, and eventually they'll add first half only fantasy score, PrizePicks, and then you'll see those in Outlier as well. But I like to turn these filters on, and then basically it presents you with some of the best matchups or hit rates for first half only player props. And so we're going to take a look at some of those today. Like I said, this is a great way, playing first half only is a great way to avoid things like blowouts, because obviously if the game gets out of hand, then these players will not see their full allotment of minutes, which means if you take the overs, like a lot of bettors tend to do, you're going to be down Hurt Street, all right? You're going to be going down Hurt Street. We want to try to avoid going down Hurt Street. So let's take a look at some of these that are trending really well on Outlier.bet. First guy is Franz Wagner of my Orlando Magic. Franz Wagner over the last 10 games has been on fire, scorcher. In fact, averaging a whopping 17 points per game in the first half. His line today, first half only points, is sitting at 14 over on PrizePicks. So I think this is a good opportunity for us to go back to Franz Wagner tonight against a Charlotte Hornets team that's really not performing great. In fact, the last time that Franz Wagner faced the Charlotte Hornets, he dropped 23 first half points on their heads. Okay, gang? So we know that the matchup's a good one. We know that he could take advantage of this situation. Grant Williams is out for the season with a torn ACL. No Miles Bridges tonight. And so the Charlotte Hornets are going to be pretty beat up across the board. They're going to be relying on guys like LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller to kind of carry the load here for the Charlotte Hornets. But I like the matchup for Franz Wagner. If you take a look at the overall matchup here, Charlotte ranks 22nd in total points allowed to opposing teams. So there's only like 8 teams that are allowing more points per game than the Charlotte Hornets are. And then we take a look at what the points per game allowed to both the small forward and power forward positions, because between Franz Wagner and Tristan da Silva, you can make an argument or a case that, you know, one's the small forward, one's the power forward. They're kind of interchangeable. Both of these guys are wing players, but Charlotte does a pretty good job in terms of stopping small forwards. Now, again, this is probably when they're 100% healthy, but they will not be tonight with some of their key players out in Grant Williams and Miles Bridges. But then you look at the power forward position, which you could argue is maybe more where Franz Wagner fits in. They give up the most points per game to opposing power forwards. So we'll have to see how things play out tonight. The only piece of injury news for the Orlando Magic is that Wendell Carter Jr. is potentially going to re-enter the starting lineup. Will that shake up things significantly for Franz Wagner? We'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, 14 first half points looks really good. The only game that he failed was against the Los Angeles Clippers. Outside of that, though, he's been putting up some monster numbers, including that 23-point first half performance against the Hornets the last time they played. So I think Franz Wagner for more than 14.5 first half points looks like a good way to go. The second guy, I don't know if he's going to play or not. It's Yves Missy of the New Orleans Pelicans. Right now, he's listed as a game time decision. He's going up against the Indiana Pacers. And I'm looking at his first half points, rebounds, and assists because over the last 10 games, he's hit 9 or more first half PRA at a very, very high clip here. 8 out of 10, he's actually went over. 9 out of 10, he's actually tied or pushed or went over. So doing a really good job here of hitting at least 9 points, rebounds, and assists in the first half in his last 10 games with all of the injuries that have been piling up for the New Orleans Pelicans. He's averaging right around 11.3 points, rebounds, and assists. Now, in terms of this matchup, centers against the against the Indiana Pacers, rather. Pacers rank 18th in points allowed, so not very good there. 24th in rebounds allowed. This is where he can really shine. And then just 5th in assists allowed, but he's not a big assist guy anyway. He's going to get most of his PRA in the points and rebounds category. And if he does end up playing tonight, then I think this is a really good spot for us to kind of look at. For the other big man in this game, Myles Turner of the Indiana Pacers, again, going up against the New Orleans Pelicans. Myles Turner has done a really good job, especially at home, clearing the 12.5 first half points, rebounds, and assists number. Taking a look at just the home games here, you can see that he has not missed the over on 12.5 points, rebounds, and assists in any game this season. He's gone over in every single game. He's a 6 for 6 perfect hitter when it comes to 12.5 first half PRA playing at home. 13.8 first half points, rebounds, and assists per game when playing in front of the Indiana Pacer fans. But overall, he's also doing a really good job here. If we just kind of take a look at like the last 10 games, my man's went over in 9 out of 10, averaging 14.4 first half points, rebounds, and assists. It's a 90% hit rate over his last 10 games. So things looking pretty good here for Myles Turner. In terms of the matchup, it could be better, but, you know, this is New Orleans we're talking about here. Like I said, a team that's pretty depleted. It's going to be maybe Missy at center. If not him, then I think they got another guy named like Jamison or something like that. I don't know. Who knows who's starting for New Orleans at this point with all the injuries they have. But you take a look at some of their rankings here against the center spot. 12th in points allowed, not great, decent. 8th in rebounds and 5th in assists. Now, you look at the other front court position, which is, you know, going to be Pascal Siakam more than Myles Turner. They give up 27 points, 25 rebounds, and 22 in the assists allowed category. So these are their rankings in each of those departments. So front courts usually do pretty well against the New Orleans Pelicans, and I thought this one looked really interesting on paper. So you could go either misdemeanor Elliott over 9 points, rebounds, and assists, or you could go Turner. I don't know that I would take both of these, being that they're going against each other potentially if Missy plays, but you could go with either one of these in one of your entries tonight. But Turner is expected to play. Missy's the one that is a game time decision. Continuing on some of our first half trends that I found, this Dallas Mavericks Atlanta Hawks game has quite a few good ones, actually. We're looking at Daniel Gafford here at 5 first half points. If you take a look at Daniel Gafford's game logs, man, he's only missed 5 or more points in 2 games that he's appeared in this season. This first half point line for him is been one that he's hit at a really high clip. 82% of the games that he's played in, he's hit at least 5 points. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 out of 17 games. He's had at least 5 or more points. Now he's going up against the Atlanta Hawks tonight. Hawks, in terms of points allowed, they rank 28th overall. So this is like regardless of position, just overall what they allowed to opposing teams. When you take a look at the points allowed to opposing centers, it's not the greatest, sexiest matchup on paper. They rank 7th in points allowed. Gafford's been coming off the bench here recently. It's been Derek Lively who's been getting the start. So Gafford more than likely would probably see a guy like Okongwu off of the bench. Now, I don't know in terms of a defense or how good of a defender Okongwu is, but maybe Gafford could take advantage of Okongwu rather than going up against the starter Clint Capela. But I had to point this one out to you guys due to the fact that he's averaging about 7.47 points per game in the first half, and the fact that, again, he's hit out of 15 out of 17 games. When you take a look at the away games, he's also got a really good record on the road at covering this prop. Yeah, there's only been one game that he's missed it. 88% hit rate. He's gone over 5 points in the first half in 7 out of 8. That's nearly 8 points per game on average, 7.88 if we're splitting hairs here. So I thought this one looked pretty interesting as well. So you could add Daniel Gafford to the mix if you so choose. Moving on to the other side of this game, we've got a couple of Atlanta Hawks I want to talk about. Both of these guys are in the front court. I'm looking at Jaylen Johnson for more than 9 first half points. This is another guy who over the last, we'll say like 13 to 14 games or so has done a really good job of hitting the over on 9 first half points. You take a look at the hit rates here. 69% of the games in which he's appeared, he has gone over 9 first half points. He's averaging 10.38 first half points per game for the season. He's gone over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 out of his last 13 games. So 11 out of his last 13, he's cleared 9 first half points. So I thought this one looked really interesting as well. Now, as far as the head-to-heads go, these are from last season. He had 11 one game against Dallas and then 4 in the rematch back in April. But that was last season. We need to stay focused on this season, and this season is where he has really shined here in the first half. Now, in terms of the matchup, power forwards against the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas does a pretty good job at defending opposing power forwards. They do rank 9th in total points allowed, so there might be a little bit cause for concern here. I still think I would probably roll the dice. Dallas is going to be without Luka Doncic. That could potentially impact things defensively for them. But you can expect Jaylen Johnson to be mostly covered and guarded by PJ Washington. So numbers looking pretty good here for Jaylen Johnson. You can even take a look at his home games. Over his last 6 home games, he's hit the over in 5 out of the last 6. So pretty decent hit rates at home as well. So that's one to kind of keep your eye on. The other guy that we're going to talk about is his teammate, his running mate in the front court, which is Clint Capela of the Atlanta Hawks, who's sitting out there at 12 first half points, rebounds, and assists. Now, he's got the better matchup out of him and Jaylen Johnson. And again, being that these guys are kind of overlapping players, being that they play on the same team, they're both front court players. I probably wouldn't put both of them in the same entry or same slip. If you like both of them, split them up, take them in 2 separate entries. But Clint Capela at 12 first half points, rebounds, and assists has done an excellent job over the last 10 games of hitting the over. In fact, he's hit the over in 70% of his last 10 games, a 7 out of 10 hit rate, averaging 14.3 first half points, rebounds, and assists. So things are looking pretty darn good here for Clint Capela. Now, you talk about the matchups. Centers versus the Dallas Mavericks have done a pretty good job here. Now, maybe this changes a little bit, being that Dallas has kind of switched off from starting Gafford to starting Lively, and maybe Lively is a little bit better defender. We'll see. But yeah, 23 in terms of points allowed, 15th in rebounds allowed, and 26th in assists allowed. Obviously, Capela might get you 1, maybe 2 assists in the first half if you're lucky, but most of his bread will be buttered by this points and rebounds category, and both look like pretty darn good matchups on paper. In terms of the head-to-head against Dallas, well, he's done really good historically against the Mavericks. He's had 13 and 15 first half points, rebounds, and assists in previous games against this Dallas Mavericks squad. Obviously, this was a different Hawks team last season. Both of these games from this game log are from last season. And this is obviously a much different Dallas Mavericks squad than the one Clint Capela faced last season. So again, take these previous hit rates with a grain of salt, but it's important to note that over the last 10 games, Capela has been absolutely cooking, and he's in a great matchup tonight. Christian Braun of the Denver Nuggets is another guy that I wanted to talk about for his first half player props. This looked really good once again on paper. This is a guy that's been hitting at an insane clip for the entire season. 15 games in which he's appeared, he's hit the over in 12 out of 15. That's an 80% hit rate. So doing tremendous things in the first half is Christian Braun, averaging 12.13 first half points, rebounds, and assists. So very, very good numbers. He's got a great streak going right now. In fact, where he's hit in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 straight games. He's gone over this number of 10.5 first half PRA. If we look at just the last 10 games here, yeah, he's a perfect 10 for 10. He's averaging right around 13.4 first half points, rebounds, and assists. So yes, the hit rates look excellent. That's the good news. The bad news is this matchup against the New York Knicks is not expected to be an easy one. In terms of points allowed, they rank 13th. So the lower the number in this case, the harder, more difficult the matchup. So they're kind of like middle of the pack, which is why Outlier shows this is highlighted in yellow. In terms of rebounds allowed to shooting guards, they rank second. So a very stingy team when it comes to rebounds allowed to opposing shooting guards. I mean, you got guys like Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, some of those wing players for the New York Knicks who are excellent rebounders. And then they rank 14th in terms of assists allowed to opposing shooting guards. So you might see a little bit of a downtick for Christian Braun in terms of the rebound department, but maybe he gets his in the points in the assist category. But we know that a Tom Thibodeau coach team is typically a very good defensive team. And so don't be surprised if this streak ends up coming to an end, but definitely one that I wanted to point out and wanted to talk to you a little bit more about. So if you wanted to add any of these other ones, you could go either Jaylen Johnson over first half points at 9. The better matchup, though, would probably be his front court teammate, which was Clint Capela, and his first half PRA at 12. But I probably wouldn't take Gafford, Johnson, and Capela in the same slip. Break those up so that you don't have negative correlation. And then the last one that we talked about was obviously Christian Braun of the Denver Nuggets, another first half hitter who's been doing an amazing job, but is in a very difficult matchup. So those are some first half only NBA player prop trends that I found using outlier.bet. If you want to check out Outlier for yourself and roll up your sleeves and do a little bit of player prop research on the NBA and various other sports, there's a link down in the description of today's video where you can get a 7-day all access free pass and you can take it for a spin. My name's CJ Curry. Hopefully you found some of these picks insightful. Good luck on all your picks, plays, and parlays. And if you're in our Dub Club, I'll be dropping more picks for tonight's Monday Night Football game and the rest of the NBA slate. See you there. Peace.